Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Joe and Janelle Show. And with us today in the studio is Mayor Ernest E. Davis and Legislator Lyndon Williams. Okay, Legislator Williams, I have a quick question for you. Back on August 31st,
Right.
2011, there was a groundbreaking ceremony at Memorial Field that I attended, and you were there. And on that day, during the ceremony, they announced that Memorial Field was going to be renovated at a cost of $12.7 million, and that the field in its entirety was going to be raised, okay? And that meant tearing down the stadium,
Right.
which is historic in nature. Now, at the time, didn't you give that any thought that they were going to come, bring down
Yeah.
a historic?
Yes.
I mean, didn't that concern you?
Yes. Well, let me respond. You want me to respond?
Yeah,
Let me
please.
respond. First of all, I admit the stadium is a historic stadium in nature. I know that every one of us kind of admire iconic structures. Yankee Stadium, Babe Ruth, the house of Babe Ruth built, that was an iconic structure. Shea Stadium, that was an iconic structure.
Well, stadium was
let
not
me,
iconic.
but okay, he said it was not. But
It was
but-
bad, to tell you the truth. I just interjected.
All right, he's interjecting. Let me answer the question. First of all, there was a study done. Engineers by the county had done a study, and that study showed that the structure itself that underlying the stadium, the foundation and some of the pilings and the structure below it, was deteriorated to a level that if the cost of rehabbing it would have been more than tearing it down. I mean, that was the primary reason for the recommendation. That information was in a SECRA analysis. SECRA is an environmental study that must be done any time you do a major project like this.
So in other words, you
And so-
would have preferred,
I asked about retaining the
Right.
stadium. When the county actually talked about tearing it down, I walked the stadium with the engineers and
Right.
the county personnel. I said, why are we tearing it down? I would like us to retain the facade.
right,
They told me, and it was documented, that the stadium was deteriorated to a level that if the county was going to spend the money, they were going to be better off spending the money in putting up a brand new stadium. They were not going to just build the new facility. They were going to actually replace some of the outward facade. You probably know better what that is called. The design actually to look somewhat not similar, but to be favorable to the stadium that's there right now. But the underlying reason was the decay and asbestos that were contained in the structure of the stadium. They're not saying that it could not be rehabbed. They're saying it could be rehabbed, but the cost of rehab was significant. So the county passed the bond act saying we need to tear down the stadium. Now the city decided we want to retain and we want to spend the extra money to rehab it. It was going to be the city's cost to bear for that.
right.
And obviously the city at the time said we did not want to spend that amount of money. We would like to tear it down and start a new stadium. That was the reason behind it.
Now, when Mayor Davis took office, one of the first things he did was put an end to that idea.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor
okay?
Davis says I want to retain the stadium.
So I have to assume that, you're in disagreement with him in terms of renovating the field as opposed to raising it.
Well, let
I'm
me just.
I'm not in disagreement with what was given to him as a reason.
Right,
I'm an architect, so I do this for a living. And so when I looked at it, I know that I've done millions of dollars worth of renovation where people care about a structure, they will retain it. Mount Vernon has the only stadium of this type in the whole of Westchester. It is the most centrally located stadium in Westchester County.
right.
It has a history to it. You have veterans who built the stadium. How can I, as an architect, look at this and say that I'm going to tear this down? Forget about the history.
Right.
I'm going to come and tear it down, and I'm going to put in a less desirable architecturally stadium than that. How do I live with myself to do that as an architect?
As I said, look,
Well,
it
hold
was
on,
a city's choice
I
in
cannot
terms of
do
what they
that.
can do. You know,
And I
the
think
city-
God put me in this place to stop all of this, because that's just like tearing down St. Paul, saying,
Or Yankee Stadium.
well, Yankee Stadium
I'm
is
not
different.
sure it's
But they told him Yankee Stadium.
But Mount Vernon needs to get acquainted with its history. There are people, great people in this city that have contributed mightily. The stadium is just one of those. So when I looked at it, I say this can be done. Not only did
Irregardless of the cost.
No. Cost is very tricky. I am going to do this unconventionally. I am going to tear down the bleachers because the engineers said that the structural integrity has been compromised. So I'm taking all the bleachers out.
Okay.
I'm grinding up the concrete bleachers and I'm recycling that. I am the steel. I'm whatever I need to do with the steel to bring it up to strength. I will do that. I am the brick that is defective. I'm going to chop out all that brick and I'm going to put it back. So when you see it, it's going to look like the original stadium. It's going to have new bathrooms, new locker rooms. It's going to have LED lighting. It's going to have, and I must give the legislator credit for this. I was against artificial turf, and I did my.
Right, describe what you envision Memorial Field to look like when you're through with it.
When I'm through with it, we are going to have the concrete bleachers are going to be chipped out, and it's going to be replaced with precast concrete bleachers. It's going to take the brick, the defective brick, we're going to chip all of that out and put in new brick to match the existing. Hopefully by the end of the winter, we will have it buttoned up. We'll have the bleachers, the precast bleachers in place. We will have all of the brickwork done, all of the copings done. And then after we button that up, we're going to go inside and then we'll start working on all of the locker rooms, the bathrooms, etc. Now, when all of this is over, people will forget about all of this crap. I have, because I'm an architect, I have done what people don't usually do. I have gotten prices on how much that the track and the field is going to cost. I know what it's going to cost, roughly. I know what it's going to cost to take out the bleachers. I don't have a price for the precast yet, but I know what has been submitted to me for the brick. And that's what basically this job is about.
Okay, all right.
And so what I'm doing in the next week or so, I'm putting out a bid to demolish the bleachers, to upgrade the structure, and to do the brick and the coping. And when I do that, after I do that and I can safe it off, I can start to work on the track. I won't work on the track, obviously, as I'm building the.
All right, let's give, go
I'd
ahead.
like the
Well,
legislator to
look,
respond.
I want to say this because sometimes the sound bites tend to take over the whole story. As I said before, the county did not say we want to tear down the iconic stadium. That's not what the approval was. It was the city's choice based on cost. In other words, so if the mayor is saying that we're going to spend the money to do this the way we want to do it, then I'm sure the county wouldn't have any objection to that because the city's spending the money to do it. I can tell you the cost that analysis they looked at were a lot more than the amount that was anticipated they were going to spend. The city was only willing to put $3 million at the time into Memorial Stadium. That's all they were willing to put in. Now, and they didn't even put in $3 million. They put in $2.2 million. They never went the full, where they were supposed to, the amount that's supposed. So if the city is willing now to put in more money, the city officials locally, in getting it done,
No, it's
then,
not- it's
well,
not
well,
what
let me
we're
just
gonna
finish.
do.
Let me finish. I listened to, what you had to
But
say.
I don't want you to go down the road that,
Well-
that the city's not gonna do. The city I've decided that we are going to do much of the job unconventionally. You can have an architect.
Well,
he-
we'll
But
get to that.
let
We'll
me
get
get,
to
yeah,
that
let me get
next,
to the point of it.
because that's one of my
Because look,
questions. Yeah.
the mayor said, I'm going out to bid for demolition, but of the demolition of the stands, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But we've already bidded for demolition. The county spent $1.2 million for that, for demolition of the stands. The stands were never demolished. So, I mean, this is what I'm saying, that the cost that builds in to decisions that you're making, and it's not that you shouldn't make the decisions, but you gotta be prepared to bear the cost of doing it.
No.
Yeah.
The county did not pay all of the demolition costs. The county paid for all that debris you see there. The county paid to chop out that
No,
whole thing so that they can.
No, but Mayor, we passed legislation in the county board,
And
okay, and it says what the money was supposed to go for.
I'm telling you what
So
happened.
if it wasn't,
I'm telling you what happened. What happened is the demolition of the roof. A lot of the demolition was done, but not the structure. Everything else around it was done. So the demolition was done. All that rock, you paid $500,000 to chip all that rock that you see out there. That was part of the demolition.
look, I can only go with what legally we pass a law, right? A
But I'm
legislation.
telling you, I haven't
And so,
debated
you gotta
that.
follow the law,
Let me just
basically.
clarify, so that 500,000 you said was already spent and the work was done was part of the 1.2 million that the legislator was talking
part
about?
part of the work, and we had to
So
justify.
half of
Yeah.
it was
We
paid
had to
and
justify.
done.
Before I got there, the demolition all around the stadium was done. There was a lot of demolition done outside of the
But
building.
the bid for demolition, when they went out and bid for demolishing the stadium, my understanding was not to demolish just the parts that have been done, was to demolish the entire stadium, including the work that you said that
Right.
you're going out to bid for now.
Right.
So the
And-
question is this: if they have spent, if let's say you have, I think it was $1.6 million, that was the contract price that was bidded. The city already paid $1.2 million, $1,225,000 toward that.
Right,
So,
but the stadium.
and that's the entire demolition.
No. The stadium.
It's a bid. It's right in the bid.
The stadium was all around the stadium. There was demolition. So you had the roof, you had the asbestos, you had the piping, you had a lot of stuff done. I just stopped the demolition of the stadium. What you need to know is that, number one, the county has not given us any more money. I am getting this stuff done based on the city. The county hasn't given us any money. The county hasn't given us any more money.
I can tell you how much the county got. Yeah.
The county has not given us any money. And when people get up and say, we're moving too slow, we are moving fantastically and being creative because we're using community people. We have torn down the tennis center. We have leveled clean up all the debris. We put up retaining walls. All of that with no county money.
Well, let me correct that, because that Mayor, that's not accurate. I have a letter right now that can verify that is not accurate.
What is
let me
inaccurate?
tell you that the county hasn't given any money.
The county hasn't given no extra money.
No,
since I have
extra
been-
money. Okay, we'll say that.
The
but they
county
can't send any
owes
money,
us
yeah.
$7 million, a little over $7 million to complete the
But
school.
let me account for them.
And plus
Let
it
me
owes
put
money
in
for
a-
4th Street
Let
playground
me interject
that is
here
never
right
given.
Well, I'm not. I am not the
I'm just
person
telling
to.
you,
But no.
I'm not trying to play.
Okay,
I'm just
Joe.
What kind of show are we
telling
gonna
you
have?
what
Joe,
is the.
if this is a
the
monologue.
May I-
One at a
May I
time,
have the
please.
floor? This is a key point. As you can see in the stories and the videos that I've been putting out through the Inquirer, the phrase and the song that goes along with it is what's going on. So what that means is on two different levels. One is what's going on actually with the renovation, and this is what we're talking about partly. But that is also inextricably linked with what's going on financially. So that would be a separate conversation that maybe we transition over to. Now, as a segue, if I may, I have been shooting video kind of as a volunteer project out of my own personal interest of loving to see things come to life. So in April, I started shooting once a week, some minutes of video on Memorial Field, just because I wanted the before and after. And my idea was to put together a short documentary to show at the ribbon cutting when the field was done and open and ready to go. That was just my personal, private idea. I kind of stepped in it, and one thing led to another. Joe asked me to write a piece about it, so I did. I interviewed a piece on the rally in March that I covered, where I first met you, and things have kind of gone on from there. But when one of the individuals involved told me that it's a hole in the ground and nothing's going on, I was very surprised that anyone would say that, because I had seen what was going on for the past 2 months. So I'm interested in the facts. The other questions that have been directed to me with a very, very high level of frequency is, where's the money? And I say, I don't know, but we're gonna have you guys on to speak to that. I know another journalist who's investigating that, and that we're carving up the story. He's gonna work on the financial side. I'm more interested in the program side and how it will be used when it's done, because like you, I don't wanna live in the past. So at this point, if you two could provide us with charts or ledgers or financials, we can show that as part of the show, cut to that. I wouldn't want to get into line by line item discussion here necessarily, but I think what I've been impressed with is the way these folks of Parks and Rec are getting jobs done. They demolished the clubhouse, they're chipping in, they created the space in the hill for the cement pad for the motor that's going to inflate the bubble. They're doing a lot of very much sweat equity in the truest sense of the word. And I've been interviewing them as well. So I like the non-conventional approach that you're doing to use available resources to get the job done without any extra money. And I think here extra might be a very operative word in the different things that we're talking about. So if you don't mind, if we could segue from the work that's being done, which I will continue to cover on a regular basis, and get into the other question, what's going on. Show us the money. What's happening with the money, and why has it not been moving faster? Time is money. You say you don't have the money, so it's going a little more slowly because you're using available resources.
It's not moving more slowly. Eventually it will catch up with us. What has happened is that the city, I can take this project to demolition, I can take it to masonry, I can, Garrett Pretlow, Assemblyman Pretlow, was able to secure $300,000. I can take that money and I can work on the tennis center. I can use the rest of the city's money to demolish the stadium seats and to repair the masonry. I can take the job that far, but if we are going to move the city, for instance, I have a price for the track and the field, the turf, for roughly $3 million.
Let me jump in. What, if anything, are both of you doing to get those funds that Astorino has been holding released? What's being done about that?
I have met with the legislator, arranged a meeting with me and my staff and the head of the Capowitz, who is the chair of the board. And they have assured me that the money will be forwardly coming. I have met with Astorino. I haven't met with him, but I was at several functions And everybody's assured me that the money will be forthcoming.
Okay.
This is
we
another one of my
haven't-
questions. What is the normal process? What is the procedural flow of where the money goes and how, what is your take on this?
Well, first of all, I want to, because this show will air, and I rely on other legislators to vote to support projects for Mount Vernon.
Right.
And I don't want, and I rely on a cooperative county government. And what I don't want, because it is not accurate to say that the county is not supportive or the county has not given money, because that is not true. It is not true. The county has given $3.4 million as advance toward the stadium so far.
Yeah, but that has gone
Okay.
into.
Has that been
Well,
released?
yes, been released.
It's been dispersed to
It's-
the city.
That was a
Well-
while ago. No new money has been flowing.
Well, I mean, first of all, they need to have accountability for what they've given, first of all. And that's one of the
We have accountability. We've given you everything that
Yeah.
we've got.
I mean, and so you can't blame the county because the county is not making the project move slower. Let me put it that way. The county, my latest, and I have a email here that I had from the Parks Department based on their discussion with the city. Their view is that based on the amount that the discussions they've had, the project is $14.3 million. It's above what was anticipated.
That was the old administration.
Well,
We-
this email is dated May 15, 2014. You know, I mean,
May
so
15, this is
2000,
now
yeah, 14,
July.
yeah.
May,
Well,
June, July.
yeah, but it's current information. Their understanding, and their understanding
Is this my
yeah,
department?
they talk to your department. That's where they get information.
This
Let
architect,
me-
let me explain something to you, because I am an
Well,
architect.
we've got two
You got-
things
you
going
got-
on.
But I
Yeah.
got,
Because I wanna
I
talk
gotta
about
set
the
the course.
procedural stuff.
I
Yeah,
have to
well,
set
you
the
can't
course.
ask me a question
Just
and I don't get a chance
because-
to answer it because
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is,
but
you know, I mean,
because I can't let
else
you
is-
do that.
because it's a waste of time.
Number one, estimates are estimates. I am saying I'm doing this unconventionally. But the reason the project stopped in the other administration is because it went out to bid, it couldn't be built because they didn't have the money. So we are going to do, because I'm an architect, we are going to have community people working. I have done it unconventionally. I am going to various contractors, look at this job, give me a price. And I've done it for demolition, I've done it for masonry, and I've done it for the track. So
Mr.
I
Mayor,
know what this is
I
gonna
do
cost.
understand that you know how much stuff really costs, and inflated prices,
Right.
you can see right through that.
Th-
But let me
those
get
are-
back to the
it's all kind of
legislator.
things.
The procedure
About
is
the
that,
procedural
the
stuff.
procedure is the county money has to go through competitive bidding, a competitive bidding process.
Oh, it will be
In
competitive.
that there is no, you know, I mean, and once that competitive bidding process actually comes about, the county look at what the cost is going to be. The problem you have is, and this is discussions that the mayor had with the Astorino administration. And I am no fan, I mean, you know that myself and that administration has had our differences. And I continue to have differences. But I don't want to blame them for something that I don't think they're responsible
I'm
for.
not blaming anybody,
You know, I mean,
I'm telling you what
when
it
you
is.
say that the county did not give any money, that suggests that somehow or other they have not, and that's not true.
No,
The
it is true.
$3.4
Let me
million
tell you
they've
what
given.
happened. Let me tell you.
You know.
Come on, you
Talking
know
about
what
the
the
extra
deal is.
money?
The deal is
Need more
that a
money.
legislator from Mount Vernon and a
Yeah.
Republican leader went to the county during the election, and he went to the county.
trying to work that out.
I understand that, but you got to understand what happened. Deborah Reynolds, councilwoman, Keller, a Republican, went before the county board and beseeched the county board not to give money to the project, to kill the project, because she couldn't get 8 lanes.
And let me put it, I mean, first of all.
Is that true?
Yeah, she was at the county
All
board.
right,
Listen,
that's-
but the point is that I mean, I can spend my time on the Reynolds, or I can spend my
I'm not
time
spending
on,
time.
or I can spend my time
Cause and
on.
effect. Cause
Well,
and
but
effect.
we have got to be.
And that caused the county board to say, hey, wait a
But
minute.
no, wait a minute. The county board has not said anything about. Wait a minute, because
The county board,
the county board, all the county board did was to meet with you to
Now,
facilitate
they
a
promised
meeting.
me, Capowitz, you were there, Capowitz said, we are gonna work to make sure you get the money to do the project.
Well, and that's what
Did
we're
he not
trying.
say that?
Yeah, but
Okay.
within the bounds of what the county procedures
Right,
are. So
right.
the county.
I'm not
county,
blaming the county, I'm just
If the
telling
county
you
parks came
what
back to
happened.
me and said to me that our latest meeting with the city suggests that the city has a $14.3 million cost, and there's a $5 million gap, which we don't know if the city is going to be able to finish the project. Why should we then pour in our money? And this, I'm just telling you what they said. They
I
wanted
understand
to,
that.
they, what the county's position is that it would not be, for them to pour in the money and with I think it's $5.2 million gap, and they don't know where the rest is coming from, it would be a waste of taxpayers' money. They're not saying that they will not fund the project. They then suggested that they would put in their money at the end versus, in a progressive way. I opposed that. I said, look.
How can you do that?
Well,
Yeah.
We'd have to borrow money to do that.
but the point is that they're making, and sometimes you can do two things. You can attack a person, or you can
I'm not
deal with the
attacking-
point that
Yeah,
they're
listen,
making.
I'm
The
not
point they're
attacking-
making is this: they have to do due diligence. They had their people talk to the recreation department. They found out that there's a gap. I told them, I said, the city is applying for funding with the state to fill that gap. And so right now, the way it is right now is that they're waiting to hear whether the state is going to
We're
fill
not
that
going
gap.
to have the gap
Yes.
that
So
was.
is that the
Well,
hesitation?
we're
What's
not having
stopping
the gap.
process,
Well, it's
right?
not stopping the process because, as the mayor said, they're moving forward.
We are moving forward.
But for the
Let me
county,
tell you,
that's what they're
From the
waiting
county,
on.
they cannot disperse money until they find out that the project is
We-
disperse other
If
money.
the state commits
Addition.
to the 5 million gap,
forget
then
about
the
the
county will
state.
move forward
Forget
with
about the
that?
state. Forget about the state. I don't want
Everybody.
your listeners to believe that the state is gonna do anything. The member items are gone. We were able to get $300,000, and the state is not gonna do it.
Look, gentlemen, we're starting to wind down, and I want to get in a question before the show ends. Mayor Davis is currently using unconventional methods of renovating Memorial Field, and what I mean by that is that he's using DPW workers to do the actual work of paid contractors.
Okay.
Now, do you think that that's impacting the progress of the field, slowing the progress down? What's your take
No,
on that?
look, to the extent the city can use any resources within Mount Vernon, I support that. I'm for that. I want people to be hired from here, I want people to work from Mount Vernon. But the issue that I'm dealing with is that I have to get 12 legislators from all over this county to
Right.
vote on an amended bond act.
Right.
Okay? And at one end, I have the city who has got, and the mayor said, a friction going on between a legislator in the city and the administration. And I've got to work through that, and that's what I'm working through.
I got three votes, and that's all I need.
but
So she can do what the hell she wants to do.
So go ahead,
Because
Mayor.
I got three
But
sensible people.
the point is this, that we cannot shift the blame for things on
We're
the
not
county.
blaming it. I
You know.
don't want this show to.
And that's exactly, I don't want, exactly.
I'm not blaming. I said Capowitz, you arranged a meeting with Capowitz.
Yeah.
I spoke to the county executive and the deputy,
Right.
all of whom I know. They have assured me that they want to support the
Right.
project.
And they do,
Now,
yeah.
now, what I'm saying to you is that we were not able to build a building, it was $14 million before I came in. So the architects are saying one thing, and I know I can do other things because I have alternative ways to do business.
So, Mr. Mayor, I think the key
got
question,
I
can
got
I ask you something?
local people,
Yes.
local contractors who believe in this city, and they're willing to take a haircut on some of the stuff.
Exactly my point.
And
This is
so
what I'm
I
asking.
know, going into the bid, I know what my budget is. Now, it's unconventional. If you look at the architect stuff, it's got all kind of stuff in it. We're not gonna do that. For instance, we're not gonna have a contractor who will take money off the top. I'm gonna hire somebody who's gonna monitor the job, but I'm gonna have each individual contractors do the work.
All
And we're
of
gonna
all
do
the
it
mayor
together.
is saying is fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with. I think that the job needs to be managed properly. There's no
Right,
doubt about
right,
that,
right.
and managed to the lowest cost. And I think everyone would agree with that. I don't think anybody would dispute that you need to do this with the least amount of cost that you could incur. But if you're asking me in terms of what the county, I mean, I'm the county legislator. Okay, I'm not. He is the mayor. The city council is the city council. They have their roles. They've got to make this work. They've got to make it work within the time frame. My role is to be able to facilitate the funding coming to Mount Vernon. And all I'm trying to do is to make sure that they don't make my job more difficult than it is.
All right, listen,
That's
we have to wind down. I have one
Yeah.
final question. Will you go on record right now and tell the citizens of Mount Vernon when they can expect to start using Memorial Field? Can you give us a projection?
You know what the West Indians say? Soon come.
Okay, so
They
I-
said nothing.
Because I've been in politics
not
too
even
long.
ballpark?
I'm shooting, this is what I'm shooting for. I'm shooting to have the facility boxed in by winter. As I say that, I know that a lot of stuff can go wrong. I feel sure that with the monies that the city has and we've been working with, that I can accomplish this. What could stop this is that I have a back order of precast.
Okay,
That could stop it. But my intention is by next year this time, you won't be talking about this, you'll be talking about something else I didn't do right.
okay, but will the
And
people,
I have
yeah, go ahead.
something too. We can't cover all of this in the 40 minutes, and I understand that, and I want to thank you both for coming so much. I have my own column, as you know, on the Mount Vernon Inquirer online edition. And if you would agree to meet with me together or separately.
I'll meet with you
I
anytime,
would like
any
to
place,
follow this up.
anywhere. I am passionate about this.
Yes,
Because I know that this is our time, Mount Vernon.
and you can meet with me because I want to clarify some things. Today was very informative to me, and this is very informative, and I have some follow-up questions that we don't have time for today, but I promise, Joe and I commit to balance and the facts and informing the folks on what's going on. That's the theme song for this Memorial
Right.
Field project.
We are the
And-
people's
so-
voice on the air.
Just
Well-
understand that I will be following up with you, and
Fine.
as much time as
That's
you have
fine.
for me,
I will make myself
we
available.
will be following
First,
up.
let me say this
Yeah.
before we leave. I want to thank this gentleman for, he has been working feverishly to do it. There have been other things
I know, I'm sweating.
but I do recognize that. I'm saying we're in a situation that we must accomplish. We can accomplish it if we work together. What has happened and slowed the project down, in my opinion, is that we have people who have ulterior motives, and it has nothing to do with this stadium. Because we can work together and get it done. It's not that difficult a job to do. I'm an architect. I've done millions of jobs, not millions of jobs,
Millions of
A lot of
dollars.
jobs.
Millions of dollars.
millions of dollars a
Yes,
job.
sir.
This is not the most difficult job I've done.
Let me just say in closing that my as I said, I take my role very seriously. I work very hard. When the mayor came in, he said, "Look, I want to do something different." I said, "Fine, I will work with you to make it work."
Yeah.
And they've done that.
Amen. Yeah, he did.
And the former mayor was there. He said, "This is my plan. I will work with you." Whoever is in the office is who I have to work with, and so I'm prepared to move that forward. I also have to look down the road and how I'm going to accomplish that, because as I said, mayors work in one, making decisions on their own. When you have 17 people, I've got to put the best face forward.
Trust
for
me,
my
I
brand
got
to get
5 that came.
Yeah.
All right, listen, I've got to close this show out. I want to thank you for being on our show today. I want to thank the mayor for being on our show. And I want to thank our viewers for tuning in. Today's our inaugural show, and you'll be able to watch a recording of this show by going to the MountVernonInquirer.com, where you'll be directed to our website there. Thank you for tuning in, and God bless you all.
See you next time.
Thank you. Great job.